So this is Orico Mini Tower M435. Now, if you're looking for a dock for your Mac Mini to expand your storage, your port selection, this is one of the affordable ones on the market. Now, I'll leave the links in the description box below if you're interested after watching this video. I've been using this one actually for a little over 2 weeks now, and although I don't have a Mac Mini to pair it with, I do have my MacBook Pro. Now, I did ask Orico if it's okay to use it with a MacBook Pro, and yes, they did say that it's okay. Whether you have a MacBook Pro or a Mac Mini, this one will work with no problem. That said, here's the box. And for the unboxing experience, what you get inside the box is the Orico Mini Tower itself. This is called the Apple Silver, according to the manual. And it has a plastic top that has a magnetic access for your drive base, or this is for the 3.5-inch HDD base. More on that later. Let's put that one aside. So inside the box, you have this 10 gigabit USB-C to USB-A connector. It does have its adapter so that you can use either the C to C cable or the USB-A to C cable. And this one has 10 gigabits per second speed. Now you also have this short C to C cable that supposedly plugs into the Mac Mini. So the idea here is that you have the Mac Mini placed at the bottom and you connect the USB-C cable that's on the back to the Mac Mini. As I've said, since I don't have a Mac Mini, Orico also sent me this USB-C to C cable, which is also capable of 40 gigabits per second. And it's this one, it's rigid, it feels durable, and it works very well. Powering the Mini Tower is this power adapter. So it's using a barrel plug and this relatively compact power adapter. The maximum power supply is 60 watts, so this dock is running at 60 watts. Okay, so for the main dock, this is the front look of the Mini Tower. So you have the micro SD slot, you have this regular SD size slot, a USB 3.0 with 10 gigabit per second speed, and a USB 2.0 for your accessories. It could be a mouse or a keyboard. Then you have a power button. At the back, you have a vent here. There's actually a small fan cooling the two drive bays inside. And then you have this NVMe SSD slot that doesn't require a tool to open, so it's magnetic. As you can see, I already have an NVMe SSD inside, and it's a 1 terabyte with 3,500 megabytes of speed. For the rest, you have the USB-C that connects to the Mac Mini or your MacBook, the barrel plug for the power connector, and 2 more USB 2.0 ports for accessories. You also have a reset button here, it's called set, and you have the RAID switches when using RAID mode. So more on that later. So down at the bottom, you have these rubber feet to keep it from moving, and as well as some vents all around. As for the top cover, it's made of plastic. Everything here is made of metal except for the top cover. And then you have these 2 drive bays for your either HDD or SSD. So at the moment, I have 2 drives, but you can also use a 2.5 HDD or a 2.5 SSD for this one. It is not a toolless design, so you need to use a small screwdriver to slot these drives. It's actually already included in the box, so that's a good thing. Again, putting this one aside, this is the inside of the toaster, or rather the Orico Mini Tower. As you can see, it's very bare and hollow, and there is a small fan inside that keeps both of the drives warm. Now, as far as noise, yes, they do get audible even at idle operation, just because these are 2 traditional HDDs and you also have a small fan inside. But if you use SSD, which doesn't come with a spinning disk, then it'll be a lot more quieter. But yes, they do sound a bit audible. Now, installing these drive bays is as easy as slotting them in right there. As soon as you heard a So that's for the tower itself. I do wish it was black for the top cover, but I don't know. It looks fine. Now, as for the maximum capacity of this tower, it can support up to 56 terabytes. So that means 1/8 terabyte SSD on the back for the NVMe and 224 terabytes of HDD inside. So for a total, that's 56 terabytes. Now that's a lot of storage for the regular user, even for me who edits videos for a living. Now assuming you have 56 terabytes to use, now that's a lot of data to process, whether it's for storage or accessing files on demand. Now that's why this tower supports both hot data processing and cold data processing. Hot data processing basically means the fastest speed possible, and that is in particular this NVMe slot. And obviously you have the cold data processing, which is these two drive bays. That said, we do have 4 modes for this tower. 2 of them is RAID 0 and RAID 1. The third one is PM or cold normal, and the fourth one is SPAN or JBOD. The default mode for this one is PM or normal. So basically, once you connect these to your Mac Mini or your MacBook, those 3 drives will act like a normal drive inside a computer, so you can eject each one of them or use them simultaneously. It's basically installing an SSD and 2 HDDs on your computer. Now for SPAN or JBOD, now for the second mode, which is SPAN or JBOD, it combines all the drives capacity. So let's say I have this 320 and I have this 250. In total, I have around 500 gigabytes, but based on my use, I tested these 2 drives. I ended up losing 50 gigabytes for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I think that's one of the drawbacks if you don't use the same capacity. Now the third mode is called RAID 0. So RAID 0 basically combines all the capacity of your drives while in theory doubling the speed of your drive. So if you have 2 traditional drives, you can expect around 1.5 to 1.8 speed performance compared to the regular speed of a single drive. Now the downside to that is once a drive fails, you won't be able to restore either data on these drives because they are combined. So that's one of the risks of the RAID 0. While you do get the same capacity as your drives, the faster speeds, you do lose your data once either drive fails. As for the last mode, which is RAID 1, it is the best option if you want to store your files and use a redundancy or have a backup. Basically, if you have 2 1 terabyte HDDs and combine that into one, 50% of that will be usable, while the 50% of that will be used for backup just in case one of the drives fail. But as far as speed goes, it's not the best if you frequently access your files. Now with all that said, how do you activate RAID or change modes? Now you have this. This is how you activate or change modes, and according to the manual, here's the orientation for the 4 RAID modes. I'm not sure why the printing is inverted, but there you have it. However, according to the manual, you have several steps to do to change RAID modes. But unfortunately, I tried following the manual and it didn't work. So thanks to one YouTuber that already reviewed this tower, apparently the right way to do here is that once you're settled into what RAID mode you want to use, just press the reset button for around 5 to 8 seconds and it will reinitialize the disk and switch you to the new RAID mode. So let's say, for example, I want to switch to RAID 1. I just need to put the switch up for the 1 and then press the set button for 5 seconds, or rather 5 to 8 seconds. By the way, make sure to back up your files if you're doing a RAID switch, because once you have files on your drives and you did a RAID switch without backing up, chances are that they're going to be deleted. Now, as far as transfer speed goes, this is more than enough. Again, your maximum transfer speed is 10 gigabits per second. Just make sure your cable also supports 10 gigabit per second. If you do plan to use other cables. Now for a traditional hard drive, that is fast enough because 10 gigabit per second is basically 1250 megabytes per second if I'm not mistaken. Now for a traditional hard drive, let's say you have 8 terabytes with the maximum speed of the 8 terabyte drive, that's no problem. But when it comes to using the maximum capability of a NVMe SSD, which can go up to 3,500 megabytes per second and up to 7,400 megabytes per second for those more expensive ones, I do have to say you are bottlenecked by that port. I think that's the only main downside for this dock, is that you have a faster Mac Mini, you have a faster MacBook Pro, but as far as transfer speed goes, when using the NVMe, you are bottlenecked by the 10 gigabit port. Now, because this tower is also marketed for hot data processing, 10 gigabits per second is actually more than enough if you're editing videos of around 1080p or 1440p resolution. Yes, technically you can still edit 4K videos using this NVMe SSD, but compared to having your video files hosted on the drive of your Mac Mini or your MacBook, there's a huge difference when it comes to the read speeds, which is the most important part of it when it comes to editing videos, say on DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, and even Final Cut Pro. The most noticeable thing to me when editing on my MacBook versus editing on this tower is the read speeds. With DaVinci Resolve, whenever you cut a clip or zoom into your timeline, DaVinci re-renders the entire timeline. So with the MacBook Pro's drive, re-rendering time is basically seamless. So I can scroll through my timeline without any problems, without waiting. But when I switch to this tower using the 10 gigabit per second port, yes, I can still edit 4K videos. I can preview 4K videos without a problem in DaVinci, but doing those cuts and zooming in and out of timeline when you're a fast editor, it takes time. So it's not the best experience when it comes to fast editing or editing 4K videos with high megabit rates. But then again, if you're just recording 1080p, 1440p, or maybe use a 4K proxy to make it more faster for DaVinci Resolve or whatever editing software you use, because again, this is bottlenecked by its port. But as far as having an NVMe SSD, 2 drive bays for backup, and then having RAID 0 and RAID 1 at your disposal with this kind of industrial design, and for its price, I mean, it's not a bad deal. So that's it for this Orico Mini Tower. Let me know in the comment section if you liked this video or not. Drop a sub or like if you like supporting the channel. And as always, until the next one, stay safe.